Namaskar. Swami Atmajnananda is out of town, so I'll be studying the Gospel with you this evening. In the English Gospel, the page is 215, chapter 10, the Master with the Brahma Devotees, 2, April 22, 1883. In the Bengali Gospel, it's page 178, Chaturtha Parichhed. Sri Ramakrishna Sintir Brahma Samaj Brahma Bhakta Sanghe. Bookmark is there. Let us begin with the prayer. Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadatam Vivigrunam Tite Bhurida Jana. Om, your words are like nectar, bringing life to the scorched souls. They are prized by poets and remove all sin. They are auspicious to hear, wonderful and exalted. Those who spread these words throughout the world are truly giving souls. Chapter 10, the Master with the Brahma Devotees, April 22, 1883. Sri Ramakrishna paid a visit to Beni Madhav Paul's garden house at Sindhi, near Calcutta, on the occasion of the semi-annual festival of the Brahma Samaj. Many devotees of the Samaj were present and sat around the master. Now and then, some of them asked him questions. A Brahma devotee question, Sir, what is the way? This question was asked frequently by devotees. Upaiki, what's the way to become free from the sufferings and bondages of the world? Master, attachment to God, or in other words, love for Him. And secondly, prayer. Anuraga, attachment to God, and prayer, prarthana. Brahma devotee. Which one is the way? Love or prayer? Master, first love, then prayer. First bhakti, and then prayer. The master sang, Cry to your mother Shama with a real cry, O mind. And how can she hold herself from you? How can Shama stay away? The song, continuing the master said, and one must always chant the name and glories of God and pray to Him. An old metal pot must be scrubbed every day. What is the use of cleaning it only once? Further, one must practice discrimination and renunciation. One must be conscious of the unreality of the world. This instruction to chant the name of the Lord, name of God, and His glories comes very often. From the beginning, in the second meeting of Sri Ramakrishna, of M with Sri Ramakrishna, when M asked the question, what is the way, how to live in the world, then this among the instructions he gave, this was one of them, to chant the name of God and his glories. Always chant the name of God, name and glories of God. Always. Not now and then sporadically when convenient, but always. Sada Hari Kirtaniya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in his Shikshashtaka, Sada Hari Kirtaniya. Hari, the Lord Hari, has to be praised. His name and glories have to be chanted always. An old metal pot must be scrubbed every day. What is the use of cleaning it only once? Further, one must practice discrimination and renunciation. One must be conscious of the unreality of the world. This instruction is something we can notice a special feature of Sri Ramakrishna's teachings. Although he taught the path of bhakti, the path of devotion, he almost always included this instruction to practice viveka, discrimination between real and the unreal. And he said, God only is real, only God is real, and the world is illusory. We don't find this instruction in the teachings of other teachers of devotion, such as Prahlada and Narada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They emphasize devotion, but here Sri Ramakrishna almost always adds this instruction to practice viveka, to differentiate between real, which is God, God only real. Real means always present, unchanging, eternal, infinite. As opposed to the world, which is unreal. Unreal does not mean it is not existing now, it is, but it is not always there. It comes and goes. And when it is there, it is constantly changing. Nothing is constant in the world. Now, those are the features of the world. Unreal. It's not always there. Things change every moment. That is the teaching that is almost always added. Brahma. Is it good to renounce the world? Master. Not for all. Those who have not yet come to the end of their enjoyments should not renounce the world. Can one get drunk on 2 annas worth of wine? This teaching about one coming to the end of enjoyments, bhoganta, sashiti, only that is, when that is experienced, then one turns attention to God. When a person no longer is able to find any pleasure, happiness in the offerings of the world, name, fame, property, possession, relationships, etc., then a person is ready to turn his attention towards God. Seeking something that is higher, permanent, eternal, and cannot be lost. Unless one reaches that point of satiety, which he calls bhoganta, end of enjoyments, it's not easy for someone to become seriously interested in the pursuit of God, spiritual life. Can one get drunk? Those who have not yet come to the end of their enjoyments should not renounce the world. We notice one thing. All the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna are based upon his direct experience, not book knowledge. And secondly, all the teachings that he gave are already in the ancient scriptures, in the Upanishads, in the Gita, in other scriptures. He makes frequent references to Adhyatma Ramayana, he referred to Ashtavakra Samhita and other scriptures, Gita. But the way he presented the ancient teachings was very attractive and captured the attention of the seekers who were there in a language, in a style that they could understand and relate to. That was the speciality of his teachings. This teaching that those who have not yet come to the end of their enjoyments should not renounce the world is in the Upanishad. There, in the Mundaka Upanishad, it says, Parikshalokan karmichatan brahmanaha nirvedamayat. Parikshalokan, after examining and experiencing the offerings of the world, then a person realizes the limitations of worldly enjoyment. No lasting enjoyment, everything comes and goes, everything changes, nothing is dependable, and no pure happiness mixed with unhappiness and suffering. One should develop conviction, and then only one is ready to seek the higher truth. Tadvijnanartham, then to know that means Brahman. Until then, inquiry into the nature of reality is not really possible. As long as one is attached to the worldly enjoyments and seeks happiness in the world. That is what the Upanishad says. Then Sri Ramakrishna said the same thing. Those who have not yet come to the end of their enjoyments should not renounce the world. Can one get drunk on 2.5 worth of wine? Brahma Devotee asked. Then should they lead a worldly life? Master, yes, they should try to perform their duties in a detached way. Before they break the jackfruit open, rub your hands with oil so that the sticky milk will not smear them. The maid servant in a rich man's house performs all her duties, but her mind dwells on her home in the country. This is an example of doing duty in a detached way. You should renounce the world only in mind. But a sannyasi should renounce the world both inwardly and outwardly. Before one is ready to renounce, if one prematurely renounces, it will not work. After some time, the person is drawn back to the worldly life. Elsewhere, Sri Ramakrishna says a person wanted to renounce and he bids goodbye and goes to Varanasi, Kashi. And after some months, they get a letter from him. I've got a job here and I'm doing well. That premature renunciation in his mind is not ready, is not advisable. What should be done then? One should perform one's duties in whatever stage of life one is, Grihasthashrama, householder stage, with detachment, inward detachment, but should keep the mind on God. Just like a maid servant performs all their duties in her employer's master's home, but she knows that is not her home, and her home is in the village. So, but she refers to the master's house as my house, my garden, my kitchen, my Rama, my Hari. That is all right. But one should know none of this is truly ours. We are here for some time, but this is not our permanent place. This is a land, stranger's land. We are wandering here. This is not our abode. Let us go back to our own abode. Swami Vivekananda sang for Sri Ramakrishna. Mano chalo nije niketane. That's all. This is an example of doing duty in a detached way. You should renounce the world only in mind. Performance of duty purifies the mind. This is what he said in an earlier chapter. This is exactly what Sri Krishna says in the Gita. One achieves purity of mind by performing all one's duties as if it is worship, as worship. Then with equipped with the purity of mind, with a pure mind, one can make spiritual progress rapidly and can reach the goal. So, performing duties in as a worship, as offering to God, a service of God, is necessary, and that purifies the mind. And then one is ready to think about God and start spiritual life seriously. Until then, one's duty has to be performed well. But a sannyasi should renounce the world both inwardly and outwardly. Inward detachment for householders, because they need to keep things. A householder needs a place to stay, money to support the family, fulfill responsibilities. All these are necessary. But these, while a person keeps all these things and refers to this as my house, my Rama, my Hari, my child, my spouse, my house, inwardly one should know none of this is really mine. You are here with me for a short time. House, money, property, job, children, everybody, everything has come to me. They have come to me only because I wanted them. None of these things will come except as I have expressed a desire to have these things. Will not even be born. Even the body, birth also is occasion, happens only because I wanted to be born. I wanted some unfulfilled desires are there, some karma to be worked out. So that's why we are born. Otherwise, we would not be even born. Everything comes because we wanted them. We have paved the way for them, and they are with them for some time. All possessions are temporary. All relationships are temporary. They all end at some time or other. So as long as they are with us, we should do our duty by them, take good care of them, and then be ready when the separation comes. Yes, thank you for being with me for so long. I've done my part. We go our ways now. Same thing when separation comes. All these things will leave us: house, property, money, job, relatives, or they will be here and I have to leave. One way or the other, separation will come. When that moment of separation comes, if you have practiced inward detachment, then there is no pain. With a great sense of relief, having done my work properly, we can leave the connection and go our way. If we have practiced inward detachment, that is what he is recommending for all. But for sannyasis, a sannyasi should renounce the world both inwardly and outwardly. We should not even keep things. Aparigraha, not holding things, not acquiring things, so not basically absolutely necessary things only we have to keep. Is some message here from your PC is in danger. Please scan your system. You read.
Just ignore it.
But a sannyasi should renounce the world both inwardly and outwardly. Brahma Devotee asks a question. What is the meaning of the end of enjoyment, Bhoganta? You wanted to know. Sri Ramakrishna replies, Master, I mean the enjoyment of woman and gold. It is risky to put a typhoid patient in a room where pitchers of water and jugs of pickled tamarind are kept. Most people don't feel any longing for God unless they have once passed through the experience of wealth, name, fame, creature comforts, and the like. That is to say, unless they have seen through these enjoyments. At that stage only, one realizes, yes, I've done this, I've been there, I've done that, I've experienced it. This is all it can offer. This is not what I'm really seeking. There's something higher, there's something more lasting, permanent, that is divine. That's I want to seek. That search for something higher will start only when we realize the temporary, undependable nature of all these worldly things. Body, enjoyments, possessions, property, relationships, children, etc., job, money, work, etc. One realizes this temporary nature of these things, limited happiness that they can give, only after experiencing them for some time. Then slowly conviction comes that this is not all. There must be something higher. There must be something more profound, deeper that I want to search. That search begins earnestly after reaches this stage. Yes, some experience one must have gained and must have realized the limitations of worldly life. Unless they have seen through these enjoyments. Brahma Devotee asks, who is really bad, man or woman? What kind of question it is? Who is really bad, man or woman? Sri Ramakrishna replies, as there are women endowed with Vidya Shakti, so also there are women with Avidya Shakti. A woman endowed with spiritual attributes leads a man to God. But a woman who is the embodiment of delusion makes him forget God and drown him in the ocean of worldliness. It's not the woman, it is the man's attitude towards woman. If a man looks upon woman as an object of enjoyment, then it is that this is a wrong view. If a person sees divine mother in every woman, as Sri Ramakrishna did, then woman is she leads one to God. See, in the case of Tulsidas, the great saint, the beginning he was so much attached to his wife, didn't want separation from her even for a short time. Then he went to the extreme. She was away for some time, and he wanted to join her. So he swam through the river, holding on to a crocodile, thinking it was a log of wood. Somehow reached her, and then she said, "Why are you so mad after this body? If you have the same devotion to God, you will see God." She taught him. He realized, yes, what she is saying is true. But it had to come for her after this person had experienced it. Right time, she put the message in his mind. Famous Saint Tulsidas. So if the woman is a Sattvic woman, can lead a person to God. If it is if she has tamasic tendencies, they can drag him down also. So we have to not blame the woman. We have to have the proper attitude towards women. But a woman who is the embodiment of delusion makes him forget God and drowns him in the ocean of worldliness. This is what Sri Ramakrishna asked Holy Mother when she came to stay with him in Dakshineshwar. She said, I have come to help you to reach God. I have not come to drag you down. She was uh, she was there to help him to reach God, not to distract him by asking him to get involved in worldly enjoyment. That's our role in Sri Ramakrishna's life. This universe is created by the Mahamaya of God. Mahamaya contains both Vidya Maya, the illusion of knowledge, and Avidya Maya, the illusion of ignorance. Through the help of Vidya Maya, one cultivates such virtues as taste for holy company, knowledge, devotion, love, and renunciation. Vidya Maya leads a person to these virtues, such as taste for holy company, knowledge means self-knowledge, devotion to God, love, and renunciation. Avidya Maya consists of the five elements and the objects of the five senses form, flavor, smell, touch, and sound. You are drawn to sense objects, things that we can see, appreciate the form, beauty, color, shape, things that we can hear, pleasant sounds, things that we want to smell, fragrance, pleasant smell, things we want to taste, tasty food, and things we want to touch, giving comfort. This is the tendency of sense organs to go out and seek contact with sense objects, hoping that such contact will bring happiness. These make only these make one forget God. Too much association, contact with sense objects make us forget God. Brahma Devotee. If the power of avidya is the cause of ignorance, then why has God created it? Master. That is his play. The glory of light cannot be appreciated without darkness. Happiness cannot be understood without misery. Knowledge of good is possible because of knowledge of evil. Further, the mango grows and ripens on account of the covering skin. You throw away the skin when the mango is fully ripe and ready to be eaten. It is possible it is possible for a man to attain gradually to the knowledge of Brahman because of the covering skin of Maya. Maya is in its aspects as Vidya Maya and Avidya Maya may be likened to the skin of the mango. Both are necessary. At some point, the skin is necessary to protect the fruit until it ripens and is ready to be eaten. Then it is no longer necessary. Further, the mango, that we read. Brahma Devotee asks, Sir, is it good to worship God with form, an image of the deity made of clay? Master, you do not accept God with form because he was a Brahma devotee. That is all right. The image is not meant for you. For you, it is good to deepen your feeling towards your own ideal. From the worshippers of the personal God, you should learn their yearning, for instance, intensity of love for God. See Krishna's attraction for Radha. For instance, Krishna's attraction for Radha. We should learn from the worshippers of the personal God their love for their chosen ideal. When the believers in personal God worship the images of Kali and Durga, with what feeling they cry from the depths of their souls, Mother, oh Mother, how much they love the deity. We should accept that feeling. We don't have to accept the image. What we have to learn, the Brahmos, from the worshippers of God with form is the intensity of their love for God. The image itself is not the main thing. The love with which the devotees worship God with form, that is something that the Brahmos have to understand. You don't have to accept the image. Brahma, how does one cultivate the spirit of dispassion? Why don't all attain it? Master, dispassion is not possible unless there is satiety through enjoyment. Same thing, end of enjoyment. Dispassion is not possible unless there is satiety through enjoyment. You can easily cajole a small child with candies or toys, but after eating the candies and finishing its play, it cries, I want to go to my mother. Unless you take the child to its mother, it will throw away the toy and scream at the top of its voice. As long as the child is happy with the toys playing, then there is no need. The child does not think of the mother. He's happy with the toys. But when it is done playing, then it throws away all the toys, pushes them aside and cries only for the mother. So, like that, one has to go through the worldly enjoyments for those who need for some time. When they realize that this is not all, then they throw away the toys of the world and seek God. Oh, mother, only I want you. The stage has to come. You don't have to accept I want to go to my mother. Unless you take the child to its mother, it will throw away the toy and scream at the top of its voice. The members of the Brahma Samaj are opposed to the traditional guru system of Orthodox Hinduism. Therefore, the Brahma devotee asked the master about it. In the Hindu tradition, Sanatana Dharma tradition, the guru shishya teacher disciple lineage is important. Knowledge is imparted from the teacher to the student, and the student in turn becomes a teacher, imparts knowledge to his student, and so on. Brahmo, is spiritual knowledge impossible without a guru? Master, Sachidananda alone is the guru. If a man in the form of a guru awakens spiritual consciousness in you, then know for certain that it is God the Absolute who has assumed that human form for your sake. The Guru is like a companion who leads you by the hand. After realization of God, one loses the distinction between the Guru and the disciple. That creates a very difficult situation. There, the Guru and the disciple do not see each other. It was for this reason that Janaka said to Shukadeva, Shukadeva, give me first my teacher's fee, Guru Dakshina, if you want me to initiate you into the knowledge of Brahman. Janaka told his prospective disciple Shukadeva. For the distinction between the teacher and the disciple ceases to exist after the disciple attains to Brahman. The relationship between them remains as long as the disciple does not see God. In the beginning, one needs a guru. And the qualifications of a guru are mentioned elsewhere in the Gospel and in other scriptures. Sri Ramakrishna said, everybody, anybody, and everybody cannot become a guru. One must have received direct command from God to teach others. Only then one can teach others. Without the direct command from God, no matter how learned one is, one cannot be a teacher. Here he says, Sachidananda alone is the Guru. If a man in the form of a Guru awakens spiritual consciousness in you, then know for certain that it is God the Absolute who has assumed that human form for your sake. That's why Guru is extolled. We chant Guru Stotram, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Guru is all. He is Brahma, he is Vishnu, he is Maheshwara. He is all in all. He is Brahman itself, come in human form. So that devotion to Guru and the faith in the words of the Guru are important. Sri Ramakrishna emphasized that one. Or the relationship between them remains as long as the disciple does not see God. In the Bhagavad Gita also, Sri Krishna emphasizes when a seeker sees a Guru, then the seeker should do three things. What are the three things that a seeker, shishya, disciple has to do when he comes across a teacher? First of all, one should prostrate full to indicate his humility and surrender to the will of the Guru. If one goes with a Guru with ego, oh, let me see how much he can teach me, then it will not work at all. One should have devotion, humility. That is one thing, to do full prostration. And second thing is pariprashna. That means one should inquire into the nature of reality or whatever one is studying exhaustively. Pariprashna means inquiring into something from all angles, from all perspectives. One should not be satisfied with a little bit of information. Thorough inquiry must be done by the student. And a third thing that a student has to do is service to the teacher. So in the Gita, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninastattvadarshinaha. Tad vidhi, know that ultimate truth. That means Brahman. How? By doing three things to the Guru. Pranipatena, pranipata means full prostration, indicating surrender and humility. Pariprashnena, by inquiring into the nature of reality thoroughly, not being satisfied with partial information. And thirdly, sevaya, by doing personal service to the teacher. Then the teacher, Tattva-darshan, those who know, the teacher who knows the truth, has realized Brahman, Upadekshanti, they will teach, impart that knowledge to the student. So that's why Sri Ramakrishna said, Guru must have full faith in the words of the teacher. It was dusk. Some of the Brahma devotees said to the master, Perhaps it is time for your evening devotions. Master, no, it is not exactly that. One should pass through these disciplines in the beginning. Later, one does not need the rituals of formal worship or to follow the injunctions. The beginning stage for a spiritual life, one must follow all these rules meticulously. Prayer at the same time every day, at fixed times, these things have to be done. But when a person reaches a certain stage, then devotion becomes spontaneous. No need for these regulations. All the time, devotion is flowing in the devotee's heart and then does not require any external constraints such as timing, etc. Later on, one does not need ritual, a formal worship, or to follow the injunctions. After dusk, the preacher of the Brahma Samaj conducted the service from the pulpit. The service was interspersed with recitations from the Upanishads and the singing of Brahma songs. After the service, the master and the preacher conversed. Master, well, it seems to me that both the formless deity and God with form are real. What do you say? Sri Ramakrishna is asking the question of Brahmas. Preacher, Brahma preacher, sir, I compare the formless God to the electric current, which is not seen with eyes but can be felt. Master, yes, both are true. God with form is as real as God without form. It is the first teaching that Sri Ramakrishna gave, among the first teaching that Sri Ramakrishna gave to M in their second meeting. Sri Ramakrishna asked M, do you believe in God with form or without form? M was a little bit confused. He started cogitating, how can both be true? He came from the Brahma Samaj background, believed in God without form. Then there's some hesitation. M says, Sir, I believe in God without form. So Sri Ramakrishna says that it is all right, but don't think that's the only truth. God with form is as true as God without form. That was the teaching he gave. Master, well, it seems to me that both the formless deity and God with form are real. What do you say? Preacher, sir, I compare the formless God to the electric current, which is not seen with the eyes but can be felt. Master, yes, both are true. God with form is as real as God without form. Do you know what describing God as being formless only is like? It is like a man playing only a monotone on his flute, though it has 7 holes. But on the same instrument, another man plays different melodies. Likewise, in how many ways the believers in personal God enjoy Him? They enjoy Him through many different attitudes: a serene attitude, the attitude of a servant, a friend, a mother, a husband, or a lover. These are various bhavas he describes elsewhere. A person believing in God with form can have all these relationships and enjoy all of them and reach God through any of them or all of them. Relationship beginning with the Shanta Bhava. This is, he says, serene attitude. The sages Vedic of the Vedic time, Purushadik sages, they practice this Shanta Bhava, relationship without any personal touch. Brahman is the creator and ultimate reality, like that one. Is not that personal touch is not there in the Shanta Bhava. A devotion, all right. And then second one is the attitude of a servant, Dasya Bhava. This Sri Ramakrishna extolled this, the worship of God as a servant is the best way. He himself practiced all these bhavas at different times. Dasya Bhava. Like Hanuman was devoted to Rama and he served Rama as a servant would serve his beloved master. You are the Prabhu, you are the master, I am Dasa, the servant. That's what I want to be. Hanuman said. Although he could go to any length, he had experienced the, samadhi also, unitary consciousness. But he settled down on this relationship. Bhavan Prabhu aham dasa iti yatra vilapyate. Sri Ramakrishna also said the same thing. He had experienced everything, including samadhi under the guidance of Totapuri. But he said, finally, worshipping God as mother is the final word in spirituality. That's what it is. Final conclusion. Serene attitude, the attitude of a servant, a friend, Satya Bhava, as Arjuna was. A mother, this is Vatsalya Bhava. Like Yashoda, Kausalya, women can do this one because the element of motherhood is inherent in women. Love for the children. God is my child, I'm the mother. Loving God. Very sweet relationship, mother-child relationship. Mother, a husband. Kanta Baba. God is the husband, I am the bride. He is the bridegroom. Christians also have this, practice this relationship. And as a lover, Madhura Bhava, Radha and Krishna. You see, the thing is somehow or other to get into the lake of the nectar of immortality. Suppose one person gets into it by propitiating the deity with hymns and worship, and you are pushed into it. The result will be the same. Both of you will certainly become immortal. He said, somehow or other, the thing is to get into the lake of the nectar of immortality. Suppose one person gets into it by propitiating the deity with hymns and worship, the path of devotion, chanting hymns in describing glories of God, worshipping, or you are pushed into it. The result will be the same. Both of you will certainly become immortal. I give the Brahmos the illustration of water and ice. Sachidananda is like an endless expanse of water. The water of the great ocean in cold region freezes into blocks of ice. Similarly, through the cooling influence of divine love, Sachidananda assumes forms for the sake of bhaktas. God assumes for various forms for the benefit of the devotees who worship him with forms. For the sake of bhaktas. The rishis had the vision of the supersensuous spirit form and talked with it. But devotees acquire a love body and with its help they see the spirit form of the Absolute. In the Bhagavad Gita, we see 11th chapter, Bhagavan Shri Krishna grants special eyes to Arjuna before he reveals his cosmic form. With the ordinary eyes we have, we cannot see that one. These eyes, we can only see this one room at this time. This all our eyes can capture. But I can see all the three floors at the same time. One floor at a time I can see. I can see only what is inside this building. I cannot see at the same time what's outside the building, what is in Gaithersburg and other places. I cannot see only this small area, only this I can see. To see God with form, one has to have special eyes, love eyes. That's what Sri Krishna granted. Tadami Divya Chakshu. So this is what Sri Ramakrishna is saying. The rishis had the vision of the supersensuous spirit form and talked with it. But devotees acquire a love body and with its help they see the spirit form of the Absolute. Then it is also said in the Vedas that Brahman is beyond mind and words. The heat of the sun of knowledge melts ice-like form of the personal God. On attaining the knowledge of Brahman and communing with it, in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, one realizes Brahman, the infinite, without form or shape or beyond mind and words. Many places in the Upanishads, it is said that ultimate reality, Brahman, is pure consciousness. It has no name and form. It has no form. It's not material in nature, it's spiritual. If something is matter, then we can see that one with the eyes, touch with our hands, see with our eyes, etc. But Brahman is beyond names and forms. It's pure consciousness. So we cannot see that one with any sense organ. We cannot hear, etc. And we cannot think about it also. Mind also cannot reach it. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, a very nice statement. There the Rishi says, Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. The mind and speech, walk and manas, both went to see Brahman and come back and describe in words what Brahman was. They came back failed in their mission. Aprapya, not being able to reach Brahman, mind and speech. Nivartante, they came back. Mind said we cannot think about it, not something that the mind can capture or think about. Brahman. Speech said is not describable in words, beyond the domain of words and thought. Brahman is beyond mind and words. The heat of the sun of knowledge melts the ice-like form of the personal God. On attaining the knowledge of Brahman and communing with it in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, one realizes Brahman, the infinite, without form or shape or and beyond mind and words. Elsewhere he said, everything has been defiled by the tongue. You can talk about anything and everything. Only Brahman remains undefiled by the tongue. Words cannot describe, thought cannot capture. The nature of Brahman cannot be described. About it, one remains silent. Who can explain the infinite in words? However high a bird may soar, there are regions higher still. What do you say? Preacher, Brahma preacher says, yes, sir. It is so stated in the Vedanta philosophy. Master, once a salt doll went to the ocean to measure its depth, but it could not come back to give a report. According to one school of thought, sages like Shukadeva saw and touched the ocean of Brahman, but did not plunge into it. He gives an example elsewhere. There were three people walking somewhere, and there was a very tall wall, and very nice sound was coming from the other side. So they became curious. One of them scales the wall, stands on the top of the wall and looks on the other side. He becomes very happy, he jumps and does not come back at all. The other two are waiting. He will come back and tell us what is on the other side. That is so interesting. Second man also same thing. Went to the top of the wall, looks inside, it's very interesting something, he became happy and jumps and doesn't come back. So once we reach that divine abode, we cannot come back. Yadgatva nanivartante taddhama paramam mama, Gita says. Having reached that supreme abode, Dhamma, Paramam Dhamma, supreme abode, Nanivartante, we can't come back to this world of ignorance. Once you acquire knowledge, we'll never fall back into darkness, ignorance again. The salt doll, once the salt doll went to the ocean to measure its depth, but it could not come back to give a report. According to one school of thought, sages like Shukadeva saw and touched the ocean of Brahman, but did not plunge into it. Once I said to Vidyasagar, everything else but Brahman has been polluted, as it were, like food touched by the tongue. In other words, no one has been able to describe what Brahman is in words. A thing once uttered by the tongue becomes polluted. Vidyasagar, great Pandit though he was highly pleased with my remarks. It is said that there are places like Kedar, places near Kedar, that are covered with eternal snow. He who climbs too high cannot come back. Those who have tried to find out what there is in the higher regions or what one feels there have not come back to tell us about it. After having the vision of God, man is overpowered with bliss. He becomes silent. Who will speak? Who will explain? Total satiety. Words cannot explain the joy that knower of Brahman experiences. Ordinary experience also we cannot explain in words. Not to speak of divine experience. Even ordinary daily experiences human beings have can be put into words. I gave the example earlier of this young mother, first time mother, new baby she holds in close to her chest. First time, first baby. She's very happy. You can see her face beaming with joy of motherhood. If you ask her, how do you feel? Very happy, very what she feels very happy. What can she say? Very happy. There's no words to explain that experience is going through the joy that she's experiencing as a mother. This ordinary experience within human reach, then how to express in words the divine joy that one gets by realizing God, by knowing God. Not possible. His silence is the language. There's a very nice verse at the end of the Dakshinamurti Stotra, composed by Shankara, in praise of the Lord Dakshinamurti, Shiva as a teacher. There, the couplet says, Chitram matataror mole vriddha shishya yuva guruhu gurostamonam vyakhyanam shishyasta chinna samshaya. Chitramo, how wonderful it is. Vatataror mule, at the under the Vatataru, a huge banyan tree. Those days, teachers and students used to assemble under a tree, and their teaching was happening there. That was the classroom. Chitra Matatarmule, Vriddha Shishyaha. Shishya, the disciples are older. Vriddha means older people. You are Guru. Guru is a young man. You can see Shankaracharya and his 4 disciples in some photos. The students they appear older than he is a youthful teacher. Lived for only 32 years. Vriddha Shishya Iva Guruhu. Gurorsta Maunam Vyakhyanam. Maunam means silence. Guru Vyakhyanam, the explanation of the Guru, Maunam happens in silence. No words are spoken. However, Shishatu Chinna Samshaya, all the disciples' doubts were cleared without even one word being told by the teacher. In silence, knowledge is communicated. This is what Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi did. So silence only his teaching was done. You would look at the seeker, No words are spoken, no lecture, no class, no retreat, no book. And teachers, all doubts were resolved. Shishata Chinna Samshaya. This is what he is saying. In other words, no one has been able to describe what Brahman is. A thing once uttered by the tongue becomes polluted. Vidya Sagar, great Pandit that we read. It is said that there are places like near Kedar where there are that are covered with eternal snow. One who climbs too high cannot come back. Those who have tried to find out what there is in the higher regions or one feels or what one feels there have not come back to tell us about it. After having the vision of God, man is overpowered with bliss. He becomes silent. Who will speak? Who will explain? Too deep for words that profound experience of God. The king lives beyond the seven gates, beyond seven gates. At each gate sits a man endowed with great power and glory. At each gate the visitor asks, "Is this the king?" The gatekeeper answers, "No, not this, not this." The visitor passes through the seventh gate and becomes overpowered with joy. He is speechless. This time he does not have to ask, "Is this the king?" The mere sight of him removes all doubts. When one sees God, no speech, no question, no answer, only silence. That bliss is so profound, so deep to be expressed in words or to be thought in mind also. Too profound. Manovacham agocharam. That's what we sing in the evening prayer every day. Manovacham agocharam. Namo namo prabhu vakyamanatita manavachanekadhar. Prabhu, O Lord, namo namo. Salutations to you again and again. You are beyond the domain of speech and words. But you are the source of support of all by your power, all speech and words, thoughts become possible. That is the nature of Brahman. Too profound. The mere sight of him, preacher. Yes, sir, it is so described in Vedanta. Master, when the Godhead is thought of as creating, preserving, and destroying, it is known as the personal God, Saguna Brahman, or the primal energy, Adya Shakti. Again, when it is thought as a when it's thought of as beyond the three gunas, then it is called the attributeless reality, Nirguna Brahma, Nirguna Brahman, beyond speech and thought. This is the supreme Brahman, Parabrahman. Under the spell of God's Maya, man forgets his true nature. He forgets that he is heir to the infinite glories of his Father. The divine Maya is made up of three gunas, and all three are robbers, for they rob man of all his treasures and make him forget his true nature. The three gunas are sattva, rajas, and tamas. Of these, sattva alone points the way to God, but even sattva cannot take a man to God. It shows the way to God. Remember that parable that elsewhere Sri Ramakrishna said. A merchant was passing through the woods in the evening. The three robbers came, take away all his possessions, and then they decide what to do, discuss what to do with this man. If you leave him free, we'll go and call the police and they will catch us. So the first robber said, let us kill him. The second robber said, why to kill him? We have taken his property anyhow. We'll tie him to a tree with rope and we'll escape. And by the time he somehow becomes free, we'll be far away. Or he may not become free. Tiger may come and eat him up. Why to kill him? Third robber said, no, why to tie him? Let us leave him. By the time he walks home, we'll be away from here. After some discussion, they tie him to a tree with a rope. Then all the three robbers run away. This man is tired, cannot escape. After some time, the third robber comes back alone, unties the knot and frees him and shows him the way. Dig this way you go to your village, this much distance, then you will find your village, your home is there. This man becomes beholden to the merchant, becomes beholden to the third robber who came back and released him and showed him the way home. He says, please come to my home, sir. I want to reward you. You have saved my life. The robber said, I cannot come. This is my boundary. You go your town, and I cannot come to the town. I'll be caught by police. I'll go back. So sattva shows us the way to freedom, and there it stops. It has done its function. So in this way, Sri Ramakrishna, then comes the parable comes. Let me tell you a story. Once a rich man was passing through the forest, and that parable comes. We'll stop here and say the closing prayer. Om Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukampadrita Vigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamedyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namamaha. Om, we bow our heads before Sri Ramakrishna, who is stainless, of infinite nature, whose heart melts in sympathy for his devotees, who is an embodiment of the divine and the Supreme Lord, and ever worthy of our worship. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarvam Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. All of you stay well, and God willing, see you next week. Swamiji will be here next week.